Horizon gents, welcome to GX and this is NATO response to Russian drone attack in Poland. Watch on Cappy Army. Okay, this is from Cappy. I guess I just saw a video from Warfronts yesterday. This is from Cappy. Yeah, I was kind of waiting for this video from this channel. I was hoping he would make it, and of course he did. I don't know what exact response been there, but Article 5 basically just means that they're gonna talk it out or something. Did something else happen? This is like 6 hours ago, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Let's watch this one.
Hybrid warfare is upon us because Russian Shahed attack drones just penetrated deep into Polish territory, forcing NATO to scramble fighter jets in an attempt to shoot them down. What all this means, to put it into perspective, is this is the first time in history that NATO forces have directly engaged the Russian military, raising fears that the war could spill over. So is it finally time to sound the alarmist alarm, or is this all just one great big misunderstanding, guys?
Poland's prime minister said,
"This situation brings us closest we have ever been to open conflict since World War II, and that they're facing an enemy that doesn't hide its hostile intentions." Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry hid their hostile intentions by denying any involvement, saying, quote, "No targets on the territory of Poland were planned for destruction."
Today, I want to know what's the evidence for whether or not this was really a deliberate drone attack. What was the Russian military's objectives here? How effective was NATO's response really? I'm your average infantryman, Chris Cappy.
Yeah, see, the thing about rarity is like, at least my knowledge is really great when it comes to anything astrophysics related, as some of you already know watching my channel. See, you have these rare eclipses all the time. They are rare because the way they are happening usually happens every few thousand years. But there is another kind of rare eclipse every few years. So there is a rare eclipse every few years. So how rare are they? Yeah, this is the first time Poland or NATO probably ever came close to fighting Russia. But there's a lot of first times happening nowadays. Like, is that something to panic about? Oh, this is the first major conflict since World War II with Ukraine. All right, then another shit happens. Whether this is the first time it's happening, even after this happens, or this is the first time they cross this line. There's going to be too many first times. Does that mean we should panic though?
Let's find out.
But before we get into that, this episode is sponsored by Jocko Fuel, because all energy is not created equal, and how you choose to power yourself is important. I mean, it's 2025, you guys. I think we've evolved past trashy garbage gas station energy drinks at this point. I don't have time for drinks that spike me with energy, then crash me out. That's why I switched to Jocko Fuel, because Go is clean energy that's good for me. It's got 95 milligrams of caffeine, so it wakes me up for the day, while at the same time being balanced with L-theanine and a nootropic blend that keeps me focused but not cracked out. No sugar, no chemical aftertaste, just crisp, sustained energy that lets me push through long work days. And here's the thing, over 90% of energy drinks fail in their first year, because let's be honest, most of them suck and they don't do what they claim. But Jocko Fuel has been going strong for over 8 years now, because there are tons of people who actually find it valuable and enjoy it, like myself, and I see you guys in the comment section saying how much you love it too. And you can't fake that. So if you're building something, a body, a career, a family, or business, go to jockofuel.com and use my code CAPPY25 for 25% off your first order of performance fuel. The link's in the description and pinned comment.
Yeah, if you're creating family, yeah, this would help as well. Yeah, okay. Obviously, theanine is like, it's very calming, I guess. I don't have that great experience with theanine. I guess that's just me. I don't like that being that calm, because if you take decent amount of theanine, which I'm pretty sure this thing doesn't have that much, no product would put that much. But if you take decent amount of it, like, yeah, that would like calm you down a lot, which is like scary. Taurine is awesome. I'm guessing this will have taurine, because all energy drinks have that. Monster, all that, right? Red Bull. Pretty sure, like, say a combination of taurine, theanine, and caffeine could be good. Like, it's very calming. At the same time, it increases your focus. So it does work. Go to original video page link and support this channel.
And below, back to the episode.
What happened is 19 Russian drones entered Polish airspace from 11:30
From
p.m. on
Belarus, though.
Tuesday night until 6:30 a.m. Wednesday, September 10th. Violating airspace is considered a big party foul in this region, so NATO scrambled assets from multiple different countries, including Polish F-16 fighters, Dutch F-35 stealth fighters, and German Patriot air defense batteries to intercept these drones. All these different countries' weaponry was coordinated with an Italian airborne airborne warning surveillance aircraft, which identified the location of these enemy targets, fed it to the fighter jets real time, who then shot down at least 4 of them. What we know is Russia launched over 400 attack drones and some 40 missiles into western Ukraine on that night. And the reason NATO officials think this isn't true, that it's just an accident, is because of how many and how deep they penetrated into Polish territory. Look at the live conflict map behind me. It's never a good day when I say that. The map shows us the marked geolocations where Russian drone pieces were recovered. Where were these drones headed? The answer to that is being used as the single biggest piece of evidence that this was an intentional Russian drone incursion, because one senior military official said that these drones had the flight path on their way towards the city of Rzeszów, inside of Poland. Rzeszów is in eastern Poland, less than 100 kilometers from Ukraine's border. It just so happens to be a key logistics hub for NATO weapons being sent into Ukraine. In fact, 80% of all foreign aid and weaponry transits through Poland. There are warehouses here to store the munitions.
Oh shit! Oh my god, this is a good information that I didn't know about. So this is a deliberate attack to that place. No way it's not. I can see Kremlin, Putin rationalizing that NATO is supplying Ukraine and that's why Ukraine is attacking us. NATO might as well be like attacking us or some shit like that. And this is where there's, put all the like backup and supply. We are tired of Ukrainians keep attacking us with NATO supplies. So we're going to attack the warehouse where these supplies are. We're not attacking NATO, we're attacking supplies type of shit. I can so see that. So this was deliberate. But wouldn't NATO see this as a direct attack to them because it is at the NATO warehouse in NATO in Poland? Oh, this is some next level shit.
Could it be a coincidence that these drones were headed there? Who knows? Only the military gods, right? Russia's Shahed drones could destroy these shipments when they're at their most vulnerable, all tied up and locked down in the shipment.
Robert Kagan, a senior fellow at the Brookings Institute, said, quote, "The only surprising thing about the attack on Poland is that it didn't happen sooner. Since before World War I, it was understood that if one nation's government provided weapons and war material..."
There are those warmonger analysts, I can only say, who just see red because they've been trained to see red. Who always have this kind of statement, oh, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, oh, World War III is going to break out anytime. Okay.
Directly to another nation at war with a third nation, that legally made the donor a belligerent in the war and therefore subject to attack.
When intercepting drones, these aircraft have to stay on station for hours at a time, so Polish citizens uploaded footage throughout the night, hearing different NATO fighter aircraft circling overhead. In fact, Polish authorities had to send out an alert to some 9 million residents in the eastern
Warsaw.
part of the country, telling them to shelter in
It's just me, every time I see Warsaw in the map, I'm like, come on, man, not again. Give Warsaw a break for fuck's sake.
place during the attack. But it's not just about the cost of weapons, really. You gotta consider the cost of scrambling jets. It's enormous. Take a look at these numbers that are publicly released by the Pentagon for the costs. It's millions of dollars each time these jets have to be on station overnight.
All the cost of, that makes sense. F-22 has the highest one because F-22 is like one of those jets, so it's like too advanced and everything it does will be costly. But it's so fucked up that's never been used. Apart from I'm pretty sure doing certain ground attacks and things like that.
Not to mention the maintenance, wear and tear on all the airframes. Usually air-to-air missiles from fighter jets cost millions of dollars.
The military powers of NATO would not be able to routinely use F-35s to intercept these cheap drones each and every night.
Use F-16.
I remember when I was younger and totally broke, I took my wife out on our first date night. Spent a bunch of money, but after that we started dating regularly and I realized I couldn't sustain that. What I'm saying is using F-35s is a steak dinner. You can't do it every night.
But very recently, NATO allies have developed a new capability exactly meant for this kind of occasion. They likely launched their new Advanced Precision Kill Weapon System. These are relatively cheap. They're like $15,000 rockets that destroy attack drones at a fraction of the cost of other air-to-air missiles. So the F-15, for instance, is capable of carrying 42 of these 70.
I feel like that should be more cheaper. You need to find a way to make it even more cheaper. It's drones, man. Come on, man. You don't need that much to take down drones. One of the things I'll give to, one of the things are, they're like really weak points to West and NATO in general. Like, things are really costlier. Like, yeah, you're sure you can do that. You can sustain that. You're rich. West is rich in general. But if you do that every day, that becomes a logistical nightmare. And if wars do break out, like World War III level shit, minus the nuclear apocalypse, you're not going to be able to sustain this warfare for a long time, will you? And one of the things where, Soviet/Russian things are always cheaper, so they can sustain it somewhat. So it's just weird. Like, you need to find. I mean, US is already doing that, trying to find cheaper ways to integrate it into F-15, F-16. You need to do that, man.
Mil rockets to hit multiple drones, far more than the like 8 regular air-to-air missiles that you might see on there. Those drones only cost about $40,000 for Russia to produce, and they're capable of carrying a hefty payload of like 40 kilograms, 90 pounds, which is basically around the explosive punch of like an artillery shell. It can level a building. 4 out of 9 drones intercepted doesn't sound like an outstanding interception rate, but this is for a number of reasons. Shooting anything down mid-air with a multi-million-dollar munition from a...
Wait a minute. Don't you have like anti-air defenses there? I'm pretty sure these are one of those, unless I'm wrong, but these are the same drones that Pakistan used against India from Iran. So I hate drones. I'm pretty sure it was Iranian drones. India was able to like intercept 99% of them, more than 90, all of them basically. Like 1 or 2 just hit somewhere else, not at the target. Like just intercept all they're using like its own Prithvi, Akash and like S-400 systems, 3-4 systems. NATO doesn't have anti-air defense is what you're talking about, especially at the Belarus and Russian border. There should be something that's stationed there. Why isn't it there?
Warplane can cause tremendous risk to the people underneath. It's a real hazard. No one wants fragments from these landing on their Volkswagen. It can be more safe to let the drone crash, especially if it's unclear if it's armed, has a payload or not, and it sounds like these drones were unarmed, and we'll get more into that in a second. So Polish officials said that only the drones that posed a real threat were ones that were chosen to be shot down. Military analysts all across the board, though, are pretty unanimously warning that NATO's response has exposed a weakness to Russia when it comes to this type of warfare. NATO does not currently seem to have the cost-effective mobile and defense teams with 50 cal machine gun trucks. They don't deploy helicopters or UAV interceptor teams for this kind of purpose. The best option currently that they seem to have is expensive stealth fighter jets.
Not really. This is the first time this shit has happened. This is the first time NATO had to scramble. Now NATO's gonna like do something. Like, I don't know, put anti-air defenses, put cheaper things there. Now they can figure it out. The first time isn't anything. Like, of course, it's gonna be like one of the, they were literally caught with their pants down. Of course, they did whatever they did. Like, that doesn't mean they're gonna do the same thing next time. They're gonna reinforce it. Like, come on. NATO isn't cheap, right? US, Germany, everybody just pay a lot of money. Like, NATO has money. What you talking about?
Jets. Conrad, the director of Roshan Consulting, is a defense analyst that's an expert on Russia and Belarus. His analysis was that claims that some drones were deliberately allowed through because they pose no threat should be regarded as a dangerous illusion. Evidence that the drone attack caught authorities by surprise is the fact that some of the wreckage was found as far as 550 kilometers or 340 miles deep into Polish territory. This suggests that many of these drones could have been intercepted much sooner, so extensive safety precautions were obviously taken. Poland went as far as to shut down major airports,
Again, this shit just doesn't happen. So of course the first time they're going to be caught off guard. This is not some surprise.
including Warsaw. What is Russia's goal here? It would be to influence public opinion to not support the war in Ukraine. Poland has sent some $4 billion to support it so far.
Ooh, that's so true. Panicking NATO people. Like, if you support Ukraine, we might bomb you, and nobody wants that threat. So this could like cause like, why are we helping Ukraine? Like US were having this kind of like conversation a few months ago, like, why are we supporting Ukraine type of shit, right? So Europe might be like, okay, why are we supporting Ukraine when we could be bombed ourselves? So people like, like it's a thing. It's a doubt that creates in the environment. Like Poland says that. Maybe some other country says that, and all NATO countries are unanimous, and that's a problem. So they might be just doing that.
It'd be an attempt to deter Poland from increasing support for Ukraine. Robert Kagan said, quote, aiding Ukraine has already begun to be a controversial subject in Poland. The prospect of Russian attacks and retaliation could drive up opposition, especially if the United States proves unreliable, end quote. It can also be aimed at creating...
Yeah, but again, I'm pausing too much. But again, I've seen many Poland things, and after World War II, Poland is not one of those people who's just going to get scared and run away, because they know in the end how much they're going to get screwed if they don't act, right? So I don't think Poland is going to get, scared in that way. They will like prevention is better than the cure type of shit. They'll be that. So they'll make sure the war never reaches them. If that means helping Ukraine, then they'll help Ukraine, doesn't matter what.
Creating what is essentially drama between the NATO ally, because it could force there to be disagreements over the best way to respond that causes stress, because already the incursions have caused a wide variety of opinions on how serious the response should be. It's ranged from U.S. Congressman Joe Wilson saying, quote, this is an act of war. And meanwhile, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom had some more tame words saying, quote, it's extremely reckless move, which only serves to remind us of President Putin's blatant disregard for peace. The U.S. response so far has been less alarm compared to the NATO members, with the president saying, quote,
yeah, okay, Starmer needs to be careful what he writes, what he tweets. He might get arrested himself if he tweets wrong words. All right. This is gonna like cause friction basically in the like Article 4 is basically when they get together and like talk. In that talk, certain people will be like, oh, okay, we know why are we supporting Ukraine? So this is just like, it just increases friction. So I think Kremlin, I don't know if it's Putin directly involved or his generals are involved, but they basically have that goal to causing doubt, seeing the response, and just like all around to see where the line is, trying to push it. Like, okay, how much can I press before NATO takes it too seriously?
it could have been a mistake, end quote. It's important to note that there's some 10,000 US troops stationed in Poland who are at risk to these type of attacks. Some of the evidence that suggests this was not simply a misunderstanding is the fact that the majority of these drones came in from Belarus. They appear to have come from the increased presence of Russian forces happen to already be in Belarus right now, because this all happens to coincide with the large-scale Zapad 25 military exercises. This, of course, wouldn't be the first time that Russian troops had used military training drills as a cover for an attack. However, it's also true that Russian drones crash landing all over the region is not that unusual. Russian drones have even crossed into Poland as early as last week. Over the past year, there's been multiple reports of a single drone or two landing in Romania, Moldova, or the Baltics.
You're in Romania, few in Latvia and all that shit. Like, it's just normal. Just like, yeah, when you throw shit, it goes everywhere, right? This is fucked up. We're talking about drones and missiles here that kills things. Come on. We live in the modern world where there should be somewhat precision. Precision cannot be hundreds of miles, man. Oh, by the way, I tried to attack Ukraine, but it ended in Latvia, as you do. Where's the precision? Come on.
States. I see these kind of reports are up all the time. Lithuania has caught Russian drones crashing on their territory, which also prompted scrambling of NATO jets just earlier this year. You might recall earlier in the invasion of Ukraine back in November of 2022, a missile landed in Poland, killing 2 people near the border. Originally, it was believed to be a Russian missile, but a full investigation by Polish authorities later revealed that it was an air defense missile that had misfired from Ukraine. So an armed Russian attack drone...
That just sucks, man. That sucks so bad. Oh, it must be Russia. No, it was Ukrainian defense missile. Oh... Imagine that shit, right? That's just like, that's an egg on the face level shit.
Have landed inside of Latvia. There are dozens, literally dozens, of these reports over the past few years. In these instances, each country kind of did a hand wave and said, yeah, you know what? Mistakes happen, and they didn't use it as a reason to have...
They're gonna talk, meetings will be held, they'll eat Starbucks, they drink Starbucks coffee with a donut or shit. Do you do that in Europe? I don't know, like waffle, there you go. Coffee with waffle, you'll talk and like, yeah, nothing will happen. I've been seeing those comments in multiple videos by now, and yeah, I agree, nothing will happen. Then again, what can you do? You can't really attack Russia. You already put million sanctions on Russia. What you gonna do?
a full-on freak out over it. So why is it different this time? What's different now than all those other occasions? A security official from Belarus said it was because the drones had been jammed that they went into Poland in the first place. Russia's senior diplomat in Poland, named Ordash, said, quote, "We consider the accusations groundless. No evidence that these drones are of Russian origin has been presented." I guess implying that these are Ukrainian.
What you talking about? I hate drones. What you talking about, son? That's not Russian. Does Ukraine even have those drones? Like, aren't these like Iranian drones that Russia makes and uses? Like what? Like, unless some other country like Iran send them, that's not gonna. Yeah, okay.
Ukrainian drones. Russia's absolutely not interested in an escalation with Poland, he goes on to say, but unfortunately there is no reason to expect that the Polish authorities in their anti-Russian frenzy will listen to us either.
U.S. General Alexis Grinkowicz, who's NATO's supreme ally.
I wonder why. Why would that be the case? Why would they not trust us in sources? I mean, come on, right? It's not like Russia just invaded Ukraine out of the blue and all the shit started. You know, they're not going to listen to us. I mean, come on. Of course they're not.
Commander in Europe said, "We do not yet know if this was an intentional act or an unintentional act."
It's possible that Ukrainian countermeasures could divert attack drones. It's true. I remember when I was reporting from the inside of Ukraine, the front line, my phone would get spoofed and my phone would suddenly show my location on a map. Google Maps, for instance, is somewhere 300 miles to the east or west. Sometimes my phone GPS would say that I was in Poland. Sometimes it would say I was in Russia. The point is, when you spoof a drone, it could send it far off course, making the drone think that it was somewhere else altogether. Jamming can send drones many miles off course because they navigate using these automated systems. Ivan isn't sitting behind a computer flying each and every 400 of these drones for 16 hours straight to reach their targets. That's all automated using satellites.
But Poland and many other nations are saying that this was deliberate because the way Russian drones react to electronic warfare is supposedly one of two ways. They either fly straight back towards the point of origin, or the second way is that they go off course and crash, but what they don't do
is fly back to the origin. Do they land safely in the origin? Do they bomb the origin? That's some next. That's like the straight out of the Coyote Wiley thing. What was that like? That is the one, right? Big beep. That's the one. That's that level. Acme, right? Acme. That was the company's name. This is the Acme level shit. I hope they land safely at the origin, because otherwise that's fucked up.
Is they don't fly on a deliberate path to key military targets in Poland randomly, because one of the drones even landed at a military base according to initial reports.
It's not surprising at all that Russia would deny their involvement, right? That's kind of par of the course. We would expect that. What is surprising, I think, to me, is how NATO didn't downplay it this time as just an accident like all the other times in the past. It's like that friend that you keep making an excuse for, and you're like, no, he's cool, like all the time. I swear, he's never like this. Calling it out as a Russian deliberate attack publicly risks further escalation, which to me, that's something to note. But here's the thing, guys. Russia's launched many similar sized attacks over the past few months, and this never happened before those times. We also know that Russian intelligence agencies like the FSB, GUR have been confirmed to be running covert actions inside Poland since 2023. Russia's recruited people in Poland that are desperate for money and tasked them with scouting seaports, hiding tracking devices and military cargo, and even plotting to derail trains that are carrying weapons to Ukraine. Russian sabotage campaigns have been linked to warehouses fires all the way in Britain, an attack against a dam in Norway, and multiple cables cut under the Baltic Sea.
See, that's one of the things about Russia, man. Their flex is insane. Where they can, like, I remember like Putin, Kremlin, whatever, poisoned someone in London a few years ago with cyanide or something. I don't even know what the fuck that was. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, they can, like, oh, I can reach you all the way to UK. I can reach you into Poland. I'll recruit people from Poland. NATO can't do that shit. Or can they? Like, we don't know. But Russia does flex like that. Like, yeah, I can just do that.
It doesn't take a military genius mastermind to recognize that a drone attack on Rzeszów would be a major goal, or even forcing more security in this region slows down shipments of this military aid and makes them move.
What I don't understand is why not use, if they really want to attack that warehouse and destroy it, they could just use ballistic missiles. Why not use ballistic missile? That's like really fast, and like Poland wouldn't be able to like just defend it, right? You need to be like, first of all, like they barely defended against the drones because they weren't prepared. They're not going to be prepared for the ballistic missile. Do NATO have like this kind of system? What like USA has like THAAD and all that, Patriot, like how India has all these systems. India has system because Pakistan and China always under threat. But I mean, Russia Poland thing hasn't happened like what 70, 80 years now. So do they even have a system there? Like, do they even suspect that Russia might attack? I don't even know. So they could have just used like ballistic missile, right? Why use drones?
Move under the cover of night only. I was surprised to recently learn that Russia's been flying surveillance drones over logistics routes that the United States uses to ship this military aid through eastern Germany. So Russia's operating
makes
drones
sense.
already in Germany, way further west than Poland. They're collecting intelligence with these drones that may be used for...
Yeah, they are in Germany, they're in Poland, probably Sweden as well, because why not? See what they're doing. You definitely in UK, Alaska, they're flying in US. Canada's next stop. I don't even know, man. They're everywhere.
future sabotage efforts. It also gives them advance notice of when different types of weapon systems are arriving at the front line in Ukraine. The thing is, this is exactly the kind of plausible deniable operation that characterizes gray zone hybrid warfare operations. Because right now it's difficult to prove one way or the other really. This can be done incrementally, each time testing the limits without outright triggering a case of full-blown war.
See the line is.
It's a tough call. Do we respond with missiles or strongly worded letters? That's the big strategic dilemma of
It's Article 4, so they're just going to talk and give letters.
hybrid warfare. Personally, I don't think that's actually what really happened here, because in the past, when these kind of drones would crash in other nations, sometimes they often would be armed, which is how they normally would be, and that would suggest that it was an accident. But since they're all unarmed in this case, it seems like so far this appears to have been a dry run,
What of course that boo? That's what the boo, boo, boo. I'm here. What the fuck? What is unarmed drone going to do? Just crash? What is the justification behind that?
dry run
Oh, they try to test the limit. Well, they don't want to blow anything up because NATO could attack Russia if that happens. So yeah, they have unarmed drones just to see how far they would go.
test of the NATO alliance to see how the members respond to being poked and prodded like this. But I of course can't be 100% certain. That's the whole point in hybrid warfare though. It leaves that little bit of room for doubt. That voice in the back of your head that always tells you, you're making a mistake, you're wrong.
Yeah, is it paranoia or is it just truth? This is like a Hollywood movie. Where a paranoid guy turns out to be true. He was right to be paranoid. Or not. It was a movie about a guy who just lost his mind. Maybe Putin and Russia is that clever and doing all this shit. Or maybe it was just a mistake and we are just thinking too much. Who knows? I guess time will tell.
Wrong. That's the voice that makes taking any kind of decisive unified action in hybrid warfare so difficult. All of this comes just 1 month after the US generals released plans for the NATO Eastern Flank Defense Plan, which is designed to prevent this kind of hybrid war attack from ever happening. On the diplomatic level, the drone incursion caused Poland's government to invoke Article 4 of the NATO treaty. What's Article 4? I love bureaucracy as much as the next person, and this is, my friends, a bureaucratic mechanism. It doesn't force members to take any action, but it could pave the way for a joint.
Technically, Article 5 doesn't force any member to take action. Like, there's no forceful mechanism there. Like, people can just say no to it.
Response. This has been invoked 8 times only since the alliance was founded, so it's kind of Article 5 light. What this raises is a bunch of uncomfortable questions now about how to respond to what are being called below the threshold attacks. Below the threshold means anything short of launching a missile at a country and saying, yeah, I did it, what are you going to do about it? If you're interested in learning about missiles in warfare and how the line...
Yeah, there you go. That's how it goes. What you gonna do with? What you gonna do with? That's the shit. Again, you don't want to push somebody against the wall at a level where they'll think that. And I think West is kind of doing that to Russia. I'm not like condemning it. Like, I don't know what other answer is there. Maybe you have to do this. But Russia's like backing us against the wall at a level like they could one day just like, oh, I'm gonna attack you. What you gonna do? You want war? Let's all die together. Like, would NATO and like Europe, West do that? I don't know. So I'm so like, yeah, they just wanted to see the line. That just makes sense, because otherwise, why not use ballistic missile if they really wanted to like destroy a target? Yeah, this is some next level shit, man. I don't know what's future, like what is the plan for the future? Like why is this happening? Is this gonna spread out? Because Putin can just say that, like, okay, anybody who helps out Ukraine might as well be the target for Russia because you are helping Ukraine to kill us. So we might not attack you, but we might attack the supply itself. So they might just point blank attack warehouses inside NATO. They could just flex like that. I'm surprised they're not doing it. But yeah, they could be turning, like they could be doing that now. They might attack these warehouses and then put out the statement. Like, yeah, you're helping Ukraine and killing Russians. This is basically like, you might as well be Ukrainian at that point, that type of way. They could do that, I don't know. Well, that was NATO's response to Russian drone attack in Poland by channel Cappy Army. If you like more, subscribe and I'll see you next time.